Hi everyone, my name is Anastasia, welcome back to my channel. And after my first video last week, I was a bit confused and a bit lost as to what other video I could do to follow up that one, and I could not come up with any ideas. But after the A-levels came out and with the whole thing that happened with the A-levels, and with coronavirus, I know a lot of students are currently thinking or have already decided about taking a gap year next year, or some students actually have decided to take a gap year in the middle of their degree. So I'm a student that actually took a gap year before going into university, and I thought, why not share my experience of taking a gap year, the good things, the bad things, give you a sense of what it's like going into a gap year. So I want to start with my last year in high school, which was back in 2017, which seems so long ago right now. But going into my last year in high school, I was very confused. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and because I had good grades and my family was like one of those typical families who was like, you should be a lawyer. And I was actually watching a little bit too much Suits at the time, so I decided to apply for law school both in Greece and in England, because at that time the one thing that I knew for certain was that I wanted to study in England, because that has been my dream since I was 12. So at least I knew one thing. I applied to, well, you can't apply in Greece for law school. You have to first take the exams, which are like the A-level exams, and then you kind of list the schools you want to go to, and if you get in them, then great. If you don't, too bad. You can retake the exams next year in order to get the score needed for that university. But I did the UCAS applications for England while also studying for my exams, which were extremely hard. But I, again, didn't really know if I wanted to do law school, if I wanted to become a lawyer. I mean, Suits was pretty cool. I mean, it made me feel like, yeah, I want to be like Harvey. I want to go in close cases like that. But I didn't really know what that means. It quickly became apparent that I did not really want to go to law school, and it was really evident for my personal statement, and it actually turned out that I think 4 out of 5 universities did not accept me, and by the time the 5th university accepted me, I realized that just law wasn't for me. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to spend years of my life studying law and then not really knowing if I wanted to. So I turned to my other option, which was journalism, because I was always between those two, between journalism, because it was closer to what I really wanted to do, which is writing. Ironic, because I'm making videos right now, but anyway. However, by the time I realized I didn't want to go to law school, I had already completed UCAS applications and I had already been accepted to school there and then rejected by the other 4. I could not do the applications again until the next year. So I was forced to take a gap year in order to do the applications next year, and I decided during that gap year I would move to England, because my mom lives in England, and spend a year there in order to become accustomed to England and to learn a bit more about, living in England before actually starting university. I actually moved to England in October of 2017. Yes, 17. So I took the decision in July. So the first 3 months I spent them in Greece, and they were the hardest months of my gap year, because it was during that time that my friends were getting ready to leave for university in different towns and different countries, and they were getting ready for this new chapter in their lives, and it was that time that I felt that I was stuck in a place and that I couldn't move forward. So those 3 months were spent with me being a little bit more neurotic and a little bit more stressed and a little bit more sad and a little bit more lost, like anyone else who is forced to take a gap year. And then I moved to England. So I think the first 2 months in England were me trying to get accustomed to the fact that I was in a new country. I was in the London county, but not in London. I was 2 hours away from London, in a really small town, I think you can call it. But again, it was so small and there weren't many opportunities to meet people and to do different activities. So I was basically stuck inside my house for the first couple of months. I know I'm not making a great case for the gap year, but I promise it gets better. I promise it gets better. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you that the first 4 months of my gap year were spent with me going like, yay, freedom, no university, no studying. Oh yeah, that was so awkward. Oh my god. No, actually, the first 4 to 5 months of my gap year were spent with me feeling incredibly lost and not knowing what to do and being like, crap, my future is crumbling down and I'm gonna end up jobless. But it gave me the time to actually sit down and ask myself, what do I want to do with my life? I started reading the news more and watching the news more and actually trying to figure out if journalism was what I wanted to do. And while I was reading the news every day, and not just the news, I started reading long articles and reading different publications and getting to know what kind of newspapers are in England, what kind of newspapers are in America. I realized that I'm a very curious person, and whenever I learned something new, I was dying to call someone and inform them about it, because I found it so important for people to know what is happening around them. And I realized the power that comes with journalism. Not like the power, like, oh my god, I'm thirsty for power. No, in the sense that the only way to make the world better and to fix what's happening around us is first to be aware of what's happening around us. And I realized I wanted to be a part of the team that makes people aware of things that are happening in the world. So I started reading more and more and becoming more passionate and curious about what is happening around me, and not just in England, but also around the world. I read so many different articles and I realized that that was what I wanted to do. I started practicing writing. I opened up my own book blog, which did not take off, but I practiced my writing that way. It gave me the opportunity to read more books and to connect with people that also liked reading, and that actually kind of helped me not feel so alone. And 2 months into my journey in England, I was in the same place for the entire time, I got a job at Heathrow Airport, and that completely changed my gap year. Even though I really did not believe that anyone from an airport would be like, let's give you a job, you look like a very responsible person. It completely changed the way I see things. I started making money for the first time, and it helped me save up a lot of money to take a trip with my friends for the first time that was paid by me. And it also helped me kind of support myself for the first few months in university, which are the months that you are kind of looking for a job, not really finding one. You're trying to settle in a different country, so in a different city and country for some people. And it really helped me come out of my shell. I was naturally a really shy person. For example, I would go to a restaurant with my friend and I would not be able to ask for the ketchup or the mustard because I was way too shy to go up to the waiter or call the waiter and ask for some ketchup. Like, it was that bad. I worked there for 6 months and I ended up meeting so many different people from all around the world, and I got to meet some very interesting people, make some really great friendships, and literally come out of my shell. I met 20 to 30 different people every day, people that I've never met before, and I didn't just have to kind of move them from spot A to spot B. I also had to talk to them, make them feel comfortable. So by trying to make them feel comfortable, I had to make myself come out of my comfort zone and try new things and ask people questions, and that helped me develop myself and my own personality. So by the time I finished my job, my 6 months there, and I was ready to go to university, I was not only good in like the financial sense, but I was also really ready to go into journalism and ask random strangers difficult questions or random questions, which really came in handy because first year, no, was it a first year? I did a vox pop, which basically means you take a microphone and you go out and start asking strangers questions. And let me tell you, you're gonna be rejected a couple of times and it's gonna look so strange and it's gonna feel so uncomfortable. But I honestly believe that if I didn't have that experience at the airport, I would not have been able to do vox pops. So let's talk about the good and the bad of my gap year. The bad was especially apparent in the first few months where I felt like my friends were moving forwards with their lives and I was stuck. But you know what? You kind of get over it at some point, because you have to get over it, because just because you lost 1 year doesn't mean your life is over, doesn't mean you're not going to move forward. You are moving forward in different ways, and I found that out later on, because I realized that I had such growth in those 12 months. I asked myself the hard questions and I had time to think about what I really wanted. And I was 100% sure come September that I wanted to go to university for journalism and I wanted to become a journalist. By the time I was doing the applications and writing my own personal statement, I was so sure I wanted to be that. I was so passionate about journalism that it came out in my personal statement that I really wanted to do it. I actually got all of my applications accepted and all of them came really soon. I got my first acceptance letter in January. I think in reality you get acceptance letters in late February or early March, and I started getting them from January and I still believe that. I still believe that it was actually because I was sure that I wanted to do journalism and because I had found my passion for journalism. Unfortunately, I didn't do anything crazy in my gap year. I didn't travel and I didn't do any exciting, crazy activities, and I didn't get to know England the way I wanted to. Other people might have taken the gap year to do something groundbreaking, to put something amazing in their CV or their application for university, and that's amazing. You can do that in your gap year. You can set a goal that this year I'm going to do something amazing and I'm going to work hard so that I already have something amazing on my CV. But it's also okay not to do that. I didn't do that. My gap year wasn't something groundbreaking or something overly exciting, but it was necessary for me to discover new things about myself. It got me out of my shell. It made me sure about what I wanted to do. That doesn't mean that it's necessary for everyone. That doesn't mean that everyone needs to take a gap year in order to be sure that they want to go to that particular course or that they even want to go to university. But there is this stigma around gap years that it's a bad thing to take a year out and you have to go to university so you can finish university and go straight into the job market. And that's not true, because if you're gonna spend 3 years or 4 years or 5 years in a university studying your ass off for something, paying for that course, you have to be sure, and you have to know that you want it and that you have to be ready for that hard work. Because the other thing that this gap year gave me was a break. Because the last year of my high school career was extremely tough for me, and that year really rejuvenated me. I was really excited to go to university at the end of it. I was ready to study, ready to do new things. Gap years are not for everyone. But gap years are also not something that you should be afraid of. If you want to take a gap year, take it. It's not the end of the world. The university is still gonna be there next year, and maybe you can take that year to build your CV or make your application even better. Or maybe you can take that year, like me, to really find out what you want to do. The whole point is that if it happens to you, embrace it. It's not the end of the world. Everything's gonna be alright. And I bet you anything, there will be something to take from that year. There will be something positive, even though there might be something negative as well. Because that's life. Hello. So yes, I hope for all of you that have decided to take a gap year, you enjoy your gap year and make the most of it. And if you don't, that's alright too. And for all those of you that are still indecisive or are thinking about it or are scared of it, whatever choice you make, it's gonna be alright. And there's honestly no wrong choice in this matter. It's all about what feels best for you. And that was it for me. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you took something away from this. If you liked my video, please comment down below and subscribe. I mean, comment down below even if you didn't like it. I like all opinions, but do subscribe if you want to, and I will see you on the next video. Bye!